Aubrey, what is a problem that students have on IELTS speaking?
Oh man, ending answers sometimes, which normally the IELTS examiner would cut you off, but you can find yourself rambling and repeating ideas if
Yep.
you sort of just don't know how to stop your answer.
For sure. We get it, guys. I mean, you're afraid of not talking enough, right? So you just start rambling and repeating ideas. And then you dig yourself into a hole of this mammoth answer and you can't get out. You don't know how to end it. You don't know how to move on. So, guys, we are bringing you a super useful episode from All Ears English today with 4 phrases you can use to end an answer.
Yes, this is going to help you end answers just like a native ends their thought in a conversation, right? We're going to give you stellar IELTS speaking answer examples. And you guys, if you aren't following All Ears English, by the way, you need to right now search wherever you're listening to podcasts, All Ears English. I'm there, Lindsay, Jessica, Michelle, and there's so much great vocabulary and tips that you can use for IELTS.
Exactly, guys. So stay until the end. Aubrey and I will tell you today's best phrase along with an example.
Hello, Michelle. What's going on today?
Hi, Lindsay. Everything is good. Everything is good. Lindsay, what is the takeaway of this episode?
This episode, Michelle, normally you ask me that at the end of the episode, so I actually don't know yet. We're going to come up with it later at the end. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll be thinking of it as we're going along here.
I'm excited today because we have a unique question from a smart listener that we're excited to answer. You know, we're excited. We love these interesting, unique questions that you guys send in. You know?
Yeah.
So, by the way, Michelle, where can our listeners send their questions? What's the best address to support?
You can send it to support@allearsenglish.com.
Great.
But there are a lot of places you can send your questions. Pretty much any place you can interact with us on YouTube. You can in your reviews. Anywhere you want to ask a question, you can ask a question. But that is the email address.
Yeah, you can also ask the question in your review of our iOS or Android app. And the cool thing this summer about the iOS Android app is we have actually done an update recently.
Yes.
And we've introduced new listening speeds. And we had a listener ask for this. Many listeners asked for this.
Yeah.
So now you can listen to it at, more granular speeds, not just 1.5, but 1.3, 1.4. So double check it. And go check it and, download the app and listen over there. It's a different experience. You get transcripts, you get keywords you can save to your personal list. Things you can't get anywhere else are in the app.
Yes.
Right? Cool.
Yes. Okay. That's great. So let's go through this question. Lindsay, would you like to read it?
Yeah. This listener asked us this on YouTube. And this is from Haith Afag Khaled 4689. They said, "Thank you for your work and your effort. Your team makes really great work. I've been listening to your podcast since February, and I guess I really like it."
Aw, thanks.
No, he said since February, I guess, and I really like it. He didn't say, I guess I really like it.
That's funny.
I got confused. So he said, "I'm trying to listen to an episode every day to improve myself. I really like the final part when Lindsay says, 'What's the takeaway for today?' Can you talk about this expression and how it started in the US or the UK?" Very nice.
Yes. This is a great question. It's something that I didn't think about. We didn't think about actually talking about what. So the takeaway today will be about
the takeaway.
No. Yeah. Now I'm going to get myself all mixed up.
Yeah, it's a good question though, isn't it, Michelle?
It is. And thank you for the kind words and for listening.
Yeah. There is another episode our listeners could go back to. And you could go to check out one of our top episodes. Is your English just so-so? Go and check that one out after today's episode. But in terms of the word takeaway, Michelle, we're not going to go too much into the etymology today, right? Because that's not really the point of it.
Right. Now we're just going to talk about this word and we're going to really get into it so that we have a good takeaway at the end. Lindsay, so what when you are asking what's the takeaway of the episode, or when I ask it, whoever asks it, what are we saying?
I'm saying, what is the most important thing for our listeners to remember, right? Because I know we know, I mean, we're not going to remember every single thing
Yeah.
from every episode, but
Yeah.
we want you to come away with a feeling, an
Mhm.
idea, something you're
Mhm.
aiming for, a goal. But I think it's related to the fact that we value human connection over any language skill because our
Yeah.
goal is connection, not perfection. So usually our takeaways are about connection. And that's
Right.
so I like the idea. How can we bring everything we've learned, all the technicalities of the language, but what does it actually mean
Right.
for our listeners as soon as they hit stop on their podcast player, go to work and have that first meeting in English? What does it mean for them? Or on the street, meeting someone at a party? What does
Right.
it actually mean? Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like you're putting a bow on the episode, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah. Sure.
we're wrapping it up, and now we're just putting that final touch that's gonna really stand out that you can walk away with.
Yes, but we don't overdo it. Like I'm thinking of the scene in Love Actually where
Uh
he's wrapping up his piece of jewelry and he puts a bow on it, and then he puts it in a bag, and then he puts the potpourri in. Do you know?
yes, I of course I know that that's a funny scene,
Of
and
course, you
actually
know that scene. Yes.
yeah, I just thought of that the other day because I was in a situation where I was in a
Oh no.
rush
Oh no.
and somebody was taking forever, I think with something. I forget what it was, and I just kept on thinking about that. It was making me laugh.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's
I
so
forget. Oh, I
funny,
wish I
that
could
scene.
remember what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's incredible. So again, it's the thing that we want to take away.
Yeah.
What's the most important part? So, I mean, yeah, what we can't just end the episode. We're not just going to say, okay, bye. We want
Yeah.
to boil it down, right? That's a good
Boil it
expression
down.
to
That's a bonus for
something.
today. That's
Right,
a
that's a
bonus.
bonus for today. Guys, if you're when we were talking about that app, yeah, you can get that
Yes.
boil it down as a bonus in that app.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll probably be highlighting that word in the app. So, guys, you'll be able to tap on it, save it to your keywords if you do listen inside the app with that premium membership. But boil it down just means, what does it all really mean? What's the most
Right.
essential piece of today's
Right.
episode or today's
Right.
message or today's meeting? Right.
Right. And sometimes the takeaway is a little bit predictable and you can see it coming. And sometimes, Lindsay,
Mhm.
we fall in the episode takes twists and turns that we didn't
Yeah.
expect. And
Oh,
so
so good.
honestly, when I'm planning the episodes and I always write takeaway at the bottom, but I usually
Uh-huh.
kind of write something generic there or just,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But I know
It's
we
not going to
not
be generic.
right. We know that
Yeah.
it's gonna change, and we're
Yeah.
gonna figure it out really at the end because
Yeah.
it's a living, breathing thing. The episode, it's not all scripted
Exactly.
out.
Exactly. And so we're constantly like deciding what the takeaway is. So by the time we get to the end, it's dynamic, right? As you said, Michelle,
Mhm.
we've decided what matters the most for you guys, for our listeners, what really matters for your essentially for your happiness and your success in life,
Right,
because that's why we're here.
right,
Okay.
and
So most of the time the takeaway is
sorry.
not going to be a simple technicality of the language. It's going to be
Right.
something bigger. Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I was thinking. So every once in a while, it's use these words, give it a try, take a maybe try one at a time. But a lot of times, it's something more profound that comes out of it. So it's
Yeah.
interesting when we might discover something together. It's something unique or different. Um, because like I said, I don't even really plan them very much because I like it to happen in more of an organic way.
It's pretty organic. Yeah, it's pretty organic. I'm not sure if other podcasts do this or not. I'm listening to one health related podcast, diet and nutrition podcast, where they actually they interview scientists and he asks like 5 essential questions at the beginning of the episode that are kind of going to be the takeaways. And the
Mm.
scientists have to answer in one word, which is hard to do for a scientist
Ooh.
if you're a scientist. And then they'll dive in. So that gives the outline of the podcast episode.
Uh-huh.
And then the host will then reiterate everything that was said. So there are different ways takeaways can be done, but the word takeaway does mean usually at the end. Like, what are you leaving with?
Right. So let's use this word in some sentences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the takeaway is really that our team can handle it, but we agree that our time can be used in a better way.
Right. And obviously, this is after probably a deeper meeting, right? We've discussed a lot here at work, for example,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I didn't really understand all the details of the book, but the takeaway was crystal clear.
Right. Um
Yeah.
And Lindsay, you were talking about you also said my takeaway when we were discussing the episode. So sometimes people will say, "Well, that's my takeaway," right? So maybe
Mhm.
you have a different takeaway than
Yes.
somebody else.
100%. 100%. And this is useful in business too.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway from the keynote speech,
Yeah.
from the keynote speech, the keynote
Yeah.
presentation? What was your takeaway? My takeaway was this.
Mhm.
It can
Mhm.
be different.
Yeah.
That's important to know,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to be using this when we go to conferences, when we view anything, even like a documentary. You watch a documentary. I just watched an interesting documentary over the weekend about, let's see, the chemical company based in Delaware. It's DuPont.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know anything about DuPont. So there's been some lawsuits against them about chemicals getting into the ground in West
Mm.
Virginia, and it covered that whole topic, kind of like an Aaron Brockovich kind of
That's what it
movie.
reminded me of when you were
Oh yeah,
describing it. Yeah.
yeah. It's basically the exact same template, but great movie and a documentary. Not a documentary, just a movie with Mark Ruffalo.
Ah, okay.
And he's great in it. I recommend it for sure. But
Okay.
my takeaway was, hey, we have to keep our eyes on these chemical companies. And even now, we have to keep an eye on the products that we're buying
Mhm.
because these chemicals could be in them. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Anyways.
It's gonna freak me out.
So anyways, what are some other things we might say
Okay.
after we've watched a documentary, we have gone to a conference, we've attended a meeting at work?
Right.
I just want to expand the situations where we would use
Yeah,
these.
absolutely. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there are so many, right? It's not just about our podcast.
Of
but
course.
but you could say the main idea, right? So a lot of times this sounds a little bit academic to me. Oh, the
Yeah, I
main
agree.
idea of this
Yeah.
chapter was,
Oh, yeah.
right? But it's also used another way. So you could say the main idea is that we have to get everything organized by Tuesday at noon.
Yeah, it does sound very academic. It feels like you're taking a test, an
Yeah.
English test or something. What was the main idea? What are the supporting details?
Right, right.
Right. It feels a little too academic, but yeah, you could throw it out there verbally speaking in everyday life
Yeah, you
or the
could.
bottom line. I like this one though
Mhm.
better. The
Mhm.
bottom line.
Bottom
Um,
line.
bottom line, this is not easy, but we can do it.
Right,
Okay.
right. Or somebody might say, "Oh, well, that's the bottom line," right? So
Yes.
a couple of
Mm-hmm.
ways you can use
Mm-hmm.
that. Or the last one here is the moral, right? So this is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in a way, I would say this is fairly similar, but you could say the moral of the story is we can't let this get us down. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the moral of the story is we can't let this get us. Sure, I think it's bringing in the idea of having a takeaway from storybooks for
Yeah, yeah,
children
yeah.
or
Yep.
something, and bringing that
Mhm.
into the business world or the everyday communication world. Yeah, sure,
Mhm.
it works. Or also to add to that, the point is
The
right.
point is, yes, 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 yes. That's a good
Yeah.
one. I'm
All
gonna
right. Should we
add
do
that.
a role play, Michelle? Now? Should
Yes,
we?
let's do
Okay.
it.
So here we are talking about a movie that we saw. Oh, great. Okay, the movie example. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. I just loved it. It was beautiful.
Oh, it was incredible. I think the moral was so beautifully highlighted at the end. Life is short and we have to enjoy it.
Yep, that was my takeaway as well.
Bottom line, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, they really let the audience know that that was the main idea.
Nice. Sounds
Okay.
like a great movie. Better than
Yeah.
the one I watched.
A little more uplifting.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. So you used the moral piece. You said, yeah, it was incredible. Or I did. I think the moral was so beautifully highlighted at the end.
Mhm,
Yes. And that's
mhm.
what we love about going to the movies.
Yeah.
Usually, especially TV shows from the 90s.
Yeah, we were just
Uh,
talking about this, remember?
yeah, we
Like
talked
Full
about that before.
House,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Sure,
Yeah.
sure. There's
Yeah,
always a lesson and
a
yeah,
lesson, a moral, yeah.
yeah.
And then I said, "Yep, that was my takeaway as well."
Yeah, I really like the use for our listeners to move to that 99% fluency level of my takeaway, your takeaway, because it feels
Yeah,
like another level of fluency, guys. So you're
right.
owning something fully, and it's a vehicle to express your opinions.
Right. Yeah.
So if you write down anything today, this is your takeaway.
This is the takeaway.
Write down, this use of that was my takeaway, or what was your takeaway? I love that,
Yes.
actually.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a good way. Yeah. That would be a great way to start a conversation with somebody. And then you can
100%.
compare and contrast what you guys felt about something or what you noticed.
Yes. Love it.
And then you said, bottom line, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes. Yes. Also good. And then you said, yeah, they really let the audience know that was the main idea. And again, we said main idea is good. It's fine. It can sound a little academic,
Yeah.
but it works.
It
It
works. It
works.
works.
So Michelle, I know our listeners are waiting.
Oh
What
my
is the takeaway for
gosh. What is
today?
the
It better be
takeaway?
something good.
We got to think of a good one. Well, yeah, a takeaway can be anything that you want it to be. It can be more academic and it can be more obvious what a takeaway is. Okay, A, B, and C, but a takeaway can also be the spin that you put on something that is very personal to you.
Yes, 100%. And I think this is what good leaders do. This is what good communicators do. This is what people do for people to listen to them, right? You always put some kind of a spin or some kind of a
Mhm.
value on things
Mhm.
in a direction.
Mhm.
It's not we're just the fact is people are not going to remember, or they don't need to remember every little point you made, but they need to come away with something. So
Right.
if you are preparing a presentation,
Mhm.
spend 80% of your time on the takeaway, right? Spend a huge chunk of your time on, yes, you need the supporting details. But what is the last thing they're going to hear from you? And what's the
Yeah.
overarching idea? What really matters? Like,
Gotcha.
why did you put out this piece of content? Whether
Yeah.
it's your presentation, why did you volunteer to speak? Why did you lead? What was the point of the meeting? We need these things to be effective communicators.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Lindsay. Well said. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh man, wow. This was a really rich question and I'm
Yeah.
glad our listener asked it. It was interesting because I never thought about, oh, we say this all the time, but we never talked about exactly what it means. So
I
I'm glad
know.
our
So
listener picked
meta.
up on that. That was a very fun question to answer.
I love it. Good stuff, guys. Send in your questions and hit follow on All Ears English. All right, Michelle, I'll see you for the next episode.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
What an awesome All Ears English episode. Guys, if you're not following All Ears English already, you're crazy. There are 5 new episodes every week on All Ears English, so search for it right now and hit follow. Okay, so my favorite phrase from today for you guys to take to your IELTS exam is bottom line. Let's give our listeners a quick example of how they can use this on IELTS. So here is an example IELTS question. Do you think you'll have more free time in the future? Aubrey, how can you answer that?
I might say, maybe it's hard to say. As my son gets older, he needs me less, but there are always tasks to fill up the time running the HOA, meeting with electricians, taking care of old dogs. Bottom line is, I don't know.
It's
It's
so
funny. You can
funny.
see Jessica wrote that answer for herself. She has dogs. I almost said taking care of my older children. I'm like, I'm just going to say dogs. I could have old dogs.
So much of that answer was so specifically me that
That's
hearing
really
you
funny.
read it was hilarious. Okay. Um, anyway, guys, that's a great way to get out of an answer if you're not sure how to end it, right? If you feel like I've said too much, like I'm going to start repeating myself, I'm not sure how to end it, just give like a real quick summary. Just be like, bottom line, I don't know if I'll have more free time. That's it. That's all you got to do. And it sounds so natural and native. So, guys, for more vocabulary and great connection skills, find and follow All Ears English, guys. Wherever you're listening, search All Ears English and hit follow.
Yes, awesome. I'm so excited for all of the episodes you're going to hear over there. I will see you on the All Ears English podcast, guys.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.